All right, you guys. Oh my God, we're live. It's Wednesday. It's March 31st, 2021. There's a huge No Man's Sky
Three
update.
goddamn minutes.
Oh, are we
Three
late?
goddamn
Oh
minutes.
God, we're
Yes.
late. I was late. Okay, well then let's get the show started. Here we go. This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single, I can't believe it, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now, 6
Oh my
p.m.
goodness.
Eastern. It's insanity. Guys, we have so much news to talk about today. Everything PlayStation VR related, everything you could possibly want to hear, and maybe a little bit more. My name's Brian Pavlov from this channel right here, PSVR without Parole, and the guys to my right, the boys, Dave from Dave Station, VR.
Oh yeah. We're keeping it streamlined, guys, so the revs are going to be faster than ever because we've got to keep moving.
Whittle webs. And on the right-hand side of the screen is AJ from The Underground, PSVR, under. Sorry, I'd finished, but I was trying to streamline it.
I like how my mom brought me some cannolis because she was she's like, I want to make sure you get some of these before they get eaten. And now I look over and they're covered in ants.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. Well, they're still getting eaten either way, I guess.
Rest in peace, cannolis.
That's actually hilarious. Guys, wow, Jesus. Like Dave said, we have a lot to talk about, so we want to streamline the beginning here. But I do want to make sure that we talk about a couple things. First and foremost, want to make sure that you join the Discord. That link is in the description below. That's where this conversation happens 24/7. That's how many fingers it requires, and it's free to join, man. Just come hang out and shoot the shit with us. First thing I do every single day: brew some coffee, sit down, see what the cats are up to. Also, guys, it's almost April. I mean, it's like tomorrow's April, so it's like really close, and that means that very shortly we're going to be kicking off our April is PSVR AF event, and that is happening on April 5th, 6th, and 7th. We're going to be doing some extended looks at upcoming PSVR games, short developer interviews, and maybe even a reveal or two. So keep an eye on that. Kind of picture it. I want to keep expectations in check. Picture it like 3 mini state of plays: one Monday, one Tuesday, one Wednesday, like maybe 15-20 minutes each. Hopefully it's enjoyable and worth all the time. All right, what do you think, guys? I think we need to break into some news. But first, I want to give a shout out to Johnny No Pockets, aka Hudak Game Cat, who wrote on our Doom 3 review. Who I infamously now give it a 9 out of 10. He said, I think this is the first time I actually strongly disagree with a Without Parole review, and apparently most of the cats. This port is inexcusably bad. They ruined one of my favorites, and if we condone this, there's nothing stopping people from making laughably bad ports of other classics in the future. Now, before we get to respond to Johnny No Pockets, who that game cat, I want to ask you, Dave, did you get a chance to play a little bit more Doom?
I did, and it's all been televised. So people saw actually my transition from being like, I don't know if anybody saw my first stream and then my second or third one, but in the first one I was very kind of annoyed. I was getting stuck. I was going in circles. I was talking shit about the game a lot, and I just wasn't having as much fun as I wanted to. And part of my impressions, the other day when we talked on Monday was that, that's the impression that I had. Having played it a few more times, probably like 4+ hours into it now, it is really starting to open up. It's great fun at this point because I'm getting guns, I'm making progress, I'm not getting stuck. There were a few little hiccups like that part where you gotta go on the lift and you can fall off really easily and get electrocuted. That kept happening to me because I'm a moron. But I really like it now, and I was the most negative of us, I think, on Monday, and I'm coming around. So I would definitely give this like an 8 out of 10 at least. I can see why people will have problems with it, but what I'd say is just power through. And once you get some good guns and you start getting past those kind of clunky initial opening moments, it really is fun. Like, I had a good time with it. So give it another shot. Don't go looking for refunds just yet until you put a little more time into it.
Yeah, AJ, do you have a response to Johnny No Pockets, who that game cat?
I think, like I said, I knew this was going to be a very divisive one because when it comes to I think it has very valid complaints about the way it was implemented. at the very least, it could have been crisp and clear. But I think it gets by on just being Doom 3 and the game itself. I beat it yesterday on veteran, and I really enjoyed it. Like, it started out, and I was pretty disappointed too, but it just gets better and better and better all the way to the end for me, personally. And there were some things like the motion track DualShock controls that I enjoyed. The gameplay is still good in my opinion, and so, I mean, for me, I'm kind of like, you gave it a 9 out of 10. I wouldn't give it a 9, but I'm give it like an 8.5, upper 8s. So it's like not that much different.
Yep.
And the big factoring difference here is that you love horror games. You like, this is something that you've been wanting for a long time.
Yep.
So for you personally, a 9 makes absolute sense. But yeah. I think it's great. I loved it. I definitely plan on playing it again, and that was with the DualShock.
Yeah, he hasn't even touched it with the M
I haven't
yet.
even played it in the best way possible.
I know every time I do this, I know he gets really jealous, and I'm just gonna
Stay away from her. She's mine.
Sorry, AJ.
No,
one thing
AJ,
that I didn't actually consider when we decided to do viewer takeover stuff live. This is really funny to me. Johnny No Pockets is here. And he says, "I'm embarrassed now."
Oh,
because we called him out in front of everyone.
No, that's the opposite of what we want, man. We want
Yeah.
your opinion. We've said this 1,000 times. Our opinions are no more valid than your opinions. Like, we're all gamers. We all do this together, and so like, if we have a platform to help share opinions that aren't our own, then I'm all for that. I don't want to be like, well, we said this and that's the end of the story. That's not how Without Parole's ever worked. We have a platform. We want your voice to be heard too. So I'm actually really glad you're here, because otherwise there would have been a viewer takeover with a thumbnail that said Johnny Pockets thinks Doom 3 sucks. So I'm glad we just kind of put it as kind of a side story. And guys, I'm hoping that the tips are working properly. They should be popping up on the screen, but I ran a test and it worked, and then none of the other ones are showing up. So fingers crossed that this starts working.
Well,
so Your Long Shadows with
one
the
tree guy for all you guys. For all you guys combined, get one big tree guy.
Your Long Shadows with the 50 not okays said I promise the divas won't come out until there's at least 50 likes on this video. Get on it, cats. That was a while ago. I wonder if there's 50 likes now. Thank you very much, Your Long Shadows.
Going back to my trailer.
Also, that is pretty diva. Mad Max, the Game Cat, Alley Cat with the $2 tip says, Dave, thanks for the Quest 2 download list.
No problem, man.
We got et.2k.9.now with the $10 saying, this is for extending GAMESCAST to 3 times a week. But this is for being here. Come here. Bring it in. Bring it in. Who's your guy? Okay. I didn't. My tongue's
AJ's not a hugging guy.
He's not. He's like, can we get on with the fucking show? Is what he's saying. And then finally, Nihilus Ryan, the game feline with the $5 tip says, on base PS4, Doom 3 doesn't look bad at all. Dream, Squadrons, and No Man's Sky, now those are blurry on base PS4. Yeah, when we say blurry, obviously there are varying degrees of blur, and I think sometimes people go, oh, blur, No Man's Sky, and that's certainly not the case here. It's got a little more blur than we expected, but again, like, all these problems just don't seem like issues once you get into the game and you're just blasting away demons and you're having fun, you're looking for PDAs, whatever.
So I think actually on that point, like, we said blurry a lot and a lot of people have said blurry, but I think it's more that the textures are just low res, so it comes across looking blurry, but like the game itself isn't as blurry as No Man's Sky, like you said, on the base PS4, because that comes down to like draw distance and like, they're rendering stuff down from a base texture that is much higher quality to make it render. So like in this one, you're just looking at the old ass texture, like unvarnished, in 2021 vision. So yeah.
All right, you guys, with our updated look at Doom 3 VR edition out of the way, I think it's probably time to get to some news. And I think the biggest news of the day is probably what we want to kick off with, and that is the huge No Man's Sky Expeditions patch that landed today. I mean, like, we didn't know anything about this prior other than a tweet from Sean Murray that was literally a compass emoji.
Which everybody who knows No Man's Sky knows that means there's a big update coming out or something.
Yeah.
So people were already on to him, but obviously he didn't spill the beans on what it was exactly.
Right. AJ, I think you're the one who played this the most. I haven't played it all, just letting you guys know. Dave played it and AJ played it. And AJ, why don't you give us a rundown of everything that is entailed in this update?
Yeah, it's the Expeditions update 3.33. It it adds a brand new mode. The current modes are single player, multiplayer, survival, or I'm sorry, permadeath, survival, create mode, and this adds Expedition, and it basically forces you to make a new save file. And then there's like actual quests that you go and do, and you get rewards. And there's a ton of patch notes here. You can go to nomansky.com for the full list of patch notes, but they did various UI improvements as well. Some fixed even more crashing, although it's still not completely gone yet. But this update, the most significant thing to me is that you have a limited time to do this. It's a new seasonal thing that they're going to be doing. And you basically go and you try to accomplish these things, and you get rewards for them, which gives, I think, a lot of incentive to do this. And then those rewards that you unlock become obtainable in your other save files. So I think it's a brilliant way to do it. I don't know how they did this big of a change, this much content in such a short amount of time, but they are absolutely crushing it. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I have so much desire to do this because of the rewards and the limited amount of time to achieve them.
Now, we did get a question, and I do want to clarify. Jackie's Tucker in the breaking news video that published today said, "What do you mean by 2 months to complete it?" Basically, I guess I'm going to double down and ask, do you think these events just go away, and like if you missed your chance to actually complete them and get the rewards, and then you're stuck with the next set of rewards?
Yes,
the next set of challenges?
Absolutely. It's seasonal, and every time they say seasonal content, that's what it means in like any game. So definitely, for sure.
Nice.
And that gives people the incentive, right? Because like, I know if I'm playing a population 1 timed event where you can only get this one skin for a certain amount of time, I want to make sure that I play enough to get it in that time slot, because then later you can be like, you can't just go to the store and buy this, right? It's not something anybody can get. It shows people's like dedication to the game and stuff. So I think that'll really build kind of like repeat players who may have just not been as engaged with the game before, but like need that sort of dopamine hit of getting that cool collectible thing that nobody else has, right? So yeah, I think it'll be really good.
I want to give a quick shout out to Looper, the Game Cat, with the €5 donation. Says Hitman 3, Dreams, RE7, Arizona Sunshine on sale now, at least in Europe. Yeah, the big sale just kicked off today. And I think
Dreams is on sale as well.
Yeah, he actually had that listed between Hitman and RE7. Great list, Looper.
I missed that. Sorry.
And I think I'm going to assume that we're going to talk. This is something we'll talk about on Friday. Does that work for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Looper. If you need recommendations, come back in 2 days, and we'll certainly talk about all the stuff that's on sale. Dave, what were your first impressions of this new update?
So I only got to play for about 30 minutes, so I don't have deep impressions. And some of the stuff I just saw the contours of. Like I would see it saying, hey, this person landed on this planet in your system. And then I would look up in the sky, and I saw one planet that seemed like a hub where there were a bunch of icons where I was like, oh, that must be where everybody is. Because that's a new part of the structure now, where it's like you meet up with random people as you go. But it's sort of like you're scattered around one area, and there's sort of like hangout spots where you go to see other people. So I didn't actually get to that point. I was still scrounging around to fix my ship. But it's cool because when you start, it's a brand new save and everything's randomized. But I think they've kind of like sweetened up the randomization for your first planet a little bit, because AJ, I had one very similar to yours with those exact same dragonfly snake creatures that were awesome. Did you have the big beetles? Did you have big beetles?
Yeah.
Around?
These kinds of focus quests like this are designed. That's why you were seeing other players everywhere, because it all starts you out in the same place, and it has you go to these specific places, and that's how they kind of force the multiplayer interactions.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about it is that No Man's Sky, it's great that it's got procedural generation. It's great that there are endless numbers of planets, but they have in the past lacked that handcrafted feel that you want out of game worlds and game areas and stuff. And so when they have stuff like this that is tailored to a certain campaign, and they set us all out on a similar planet, or like maybe one of 5 different planets that are all sort of handcrafted, it's cool because you get in and you're immediately seeing all the wow stuff you could see. You're not hoping the algorithm gives you a cool planet, right?
Right.
So I actually do like that direction for them, because that's kind of not a typical No Man's Sky thing to have like curated worlds. And I really think that's a good idea.
AJ, you're the guy streaming right here in the corner. We're using your stream. We're using your footage to make sure if you want to see the entire thing and get a detailed look at this entire update, to go subscribe to AJ at PSVR Underground and check out his entire live stream. But since we're using your footage, man, I feel like you need to talk about this. Tell us what you've been thinking about it since it launched.
So there's 2 things really. Number one is that there's an inaugural prize, a reward that you can get for completing this. There's 5 different phases. I did throughout the stream that I did for 2.5 hours. I got the entire first phase done. And a lot of it is just basic No Man's Sky things. Scan 20 animals. And every single one of these, you get little rewards for yourself in your expedition mode. But when you complete a phase, that's when it unlocks the big reward, which in this case, phase 1 was these special Atlas fireworks, that they were just like a bunch of fireworks that you can go and get from your other save files from the space anomaly. But the big prize here is a big gold custom ship, and that is only going to be available for the inaugural expedition first expedition. So I have lots of incentive to go and do this. And I think the other thing I was going to say was the big takeaway here is, yes, I think more experienced players will be able to just plow through this a lot faster. However, for those who don't like the grind or the constant figuring out of stuff, I think there's something they'll take away from this, which is everything you accomplish, it just gives you rewards. It gives you upgrades to your suit. It gives you extra inventory spots. It's not like, hey, you've completed this, now go find the materials, learn how to build this next thing, and like move you forward. It's just like, hey, you completed this, here's a bunch of shit, and enjoy. And I think that's great for a lot of people that maybe have a little bit more time constraints. You get your reward faster right away.
Yeah, I really like how they're doing this, man. It's like it sort of sets everybody out on an equal playing field, and just be like, okay, you're all. It doesn't matter if you've been playing this game for an hour or 200 hours. You kind of all start these missions in the same place, and it gives me sort of a jetpack joyride kind of feel, where it's like you just do these quick little things here, do this thing, do those things, and you get to check things off boxes. And anytime that happens in a game, I'm always like, I want to check off more boxes. Like, just I love that kind of stuff. So do you think?
Well,
go ahead, Dave.
The cool thing too is AJ mentioned all the unlockable stuff, and we've been talking about this, timed exclusive stuff that you can like earn. But the cool thing to note is that will carry over to your regular save file. So if you get rewards from doing this stuff, you can take that back with you to your regular save file if you want to. Although honestly, like, I would be surprised if people swapped back that much to their old ones, unless there's some like deficiency in this version, like you can't do a certain thing in expeditions. I don't see why you wouldn't just play this way. Like, to me, it's just more interesting. And if all the other systems are still in place, which I don't know, but I think they are, right? Like, why even switch back to your old save? It seems silly.
It will convert to a normal save file when you're done. So
really?
It is a nice little boost to get ahead. Yeah.
That's a good point. I do wonder too, like, I guess, so here's my question. If you can bring over stuff you unlock in Season 1 to your regular save file, do you think in Season 2 you can bring in the shit that you unlocked in Season 1 to your Season 2 save file? It seems like it would make sense, but that's like a little thing that I don't know the answer to.
I don't know either. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure about that, because, yeah, it would be cool if you could just use if your expedition save file goes back to it, but I don't know if they're going to want to require you to make a new save file. You have to make a new save file to start this one. So
I think they will, because I know with Diablo seasons that you have a new character save every time that you start a season. You're brand new from scratch, and I could see that being the same way here. Which, I mean, it has its own benefits and its own downsides, but Yeah.
Nice. This is great, man. This is great. I think fairly unexpected. As AJ said, they just had this huge update not that long ago, and I feel like they continually deliver huge updates. So I don't know. So if you've got 2 months to finish this, AJ, based on the time you spent with it today, are you and people like Nick Mulo and people who are like obsessed with this game, are you going to be able to like bust this out in a week?
You know, I was thinking about that. I was like, I mean, what I want is probably different. If I could, I would have never stopped playing after the stream. I would still be playing right now. I'd be playing all into the night.
Damn it,
basically as
GamesCast.
fast as I could until it was completed. Yes, I would.
Well, now that we got 3 days a week, you can take a day off if you want. We'll find somebody who doesn't know anything about No Man's Sky to fill in for you. Call Jeremy up.
I'm not gonna wait the entire 2 months for this. No way. I'm gonna do it as fast as I can.
Nice.
I want that gold ship.
If it's designed like a lot of other things I've seen in this vein, it will be kind of tough. Like, you will have to put in a lot of dedicated time to get everything. Maybe it's a little easier. I guess it's hard to see up front because it doesn't show you the whole path of like, this is the level 10 unlock for this thing. There's not like a little roadmap you look at in the game. Whereas if you're playing like Fortnite or other games that have seasons, there is kind of a thing where if you get to level this, you get that, and you know what's coming up and how hard it would be to obtain or not.
I think for an experienced player, it's going to take about 10 to 15 hours, maybe more.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a big part of it is experience, too, because the game does kind of give you a tutorial at the beginning, but you'll be way better off if you played it, obviously, even if you're not starting with your resources and all that.
Hype level 1 through 10. Is this exactly what you wanted from No Man's Sky, or are you like, I could use something different?
It's something I've wanted forever just because the quests were so boring and lame. And when they added multiplayer, they didn't spruce up the quests at all. They were just like, hey, you guys all go to a planet together and somebody like find 5 pieces of fauna or something. I don't know, like really lame stuff that wasn't very questy. Or I had this idea of like, let's go together on a actual like adventure in space. And it was not that at all when they added multiplayer. Like, it was grasping in that direction. And I think the stuff like the spooky ships added a little bit more of that to it. Like, you could go with your friends to the horror ship and have a little run through there. But it still wasn't like an actual mission or adventure or quest or anything. And now it seems like it is. I'm not deep enough to know 100% for sure, but I think, AJ, you got pretty sucked into it, right? You're playing for like 2.5 hours. Does that feel that way to you too? Like,
I love these updates. Every single update, even when it was blurry as all hell on PS4, every single update made me come back and play it more. And then basically when I got done doing the update, I would be finished. So every single update, the bigger they are, the better, in my opinion, because they just keep getting better and better. And, I just love to explore in this game endlessly, and it is wonderful for that.
Nice.
One thing I'll be curious to hear, and you probably haven't even touched on this yet, but like, if we progress through this season with these saves, like we said, okay, the first planet looks like it's kind of tailored to be a certain way. We had very similar spawn areas and stuff like that. I started with the same ship as you, things like that. I wonder if as you go on and you're like maybe 10, 15 hours in, if you guys are all still seeing curated stuff that's like part of a progression that they mapped out, instead of like, okay, the first few we did ourselves, but then the rest is procedural and like go have fun with all that shit. I'd be curious to see if that curation of planets and stuff keeps going through the whole season, through the whole campaign, or if it's just like the starting out and then they're like, okay, it's No Man's Sky again, do your thing.
Yeah, though I know we got to move on to the next thing. The last thing I'll say is the other thing about this update is that there's something I'm missing.
Well, can I ask you a question while
there's
you're
like 90 things in the patch notes.
Let me ask you a question while you're thinking of that. Johnny Pockets, Who Dat GameCat is back. This time with a positive question. He says, "Is this a good place to start for noobs, or are you expected to kind of know what you're doing?"
You can start here. It gives you tutorials on basic stuff. I think you'd be fine.
You can start here, and you'll get rewarded faster. I would say that's what I was trying to point out earlier. Is that I think you'll receive your reward faster. And I remember what I was going to say. Thank you, Brian. They also they're bringing back weekend missions, weekend Nexus missions. So that's really good. You get basically, think of like the Tetris Effect rituals where you get like double the prizes and stuff. Well, you get the double the Quicksilver that you can use to only buy in the space station, space anomaly and stuff. That's like only can get there. So it's like just like special decorations, custom stuff. So that's really another great thing to hear. It's how you get your living ship and all this other stuff. So great update in my opinion, and I just love to, just can't wait to see what they do next.
So real quick before we move on, I want to go through just real quick a few other bullet points that are cool that stood out to me in the patch notes that aren't as big as like this whole new quest thing or whatever. They've redone the UI for a lot of things. They've what is this thing here? Oh, cross-platform discoveries. This is really interesting to me. Anything that anyone discovers on any platform is now like shared amongst every platform. So if you're playing on Xbox One flat and I'm playing on PlayStation VR and I discover something in your universe, like if I have a base on that planet, that base exists. So every version of the game now works with the same like background information. Like so that's kind of cool. Like if you're playing with somebody on PC, you can go to the same planet, see the same shit. That's kind of a big one that they hid in the release notes. But yeah, lots of new UI stuff. Just looks a little better, a little cleaner, and they redid some of this for like scanning and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, as you guys said, we do need to move on. We've got a lot of stories to cover today, and I think the next one is going to be pretty interesting. I think for a lot of people, or at least a minor curiosity at worst, and a huge obsession at best. Truant Pixel has been teasing something, and it's I think it's kind of got everybody wondering what it might be. Let me bring up the very first. Bring up the first teaser they put out there. And
so excited! Truant Pixel's back.
Truant Pixel's back. These guys are the guys who did 2MD VR football, and now they're doing this.
Something looks like some sort of technological, like past vision of the future or something, like a 70s idea of what the future is or something. I couldn't really get too much from that crazy teaser, but what do you guys think they're trying to tell us here?
Well, I deciphered some of it. This has been a lot of fun for me. As soon as they did that teaser, which I saw they had a binary code in there, and I went and I translated that binary code to the word escape, and then you see like a city, and then I took the video, I downloaded it, slowed it down, and listened to it, and it's some kind of like emergency broadcast from something conglomerate protectorate, it's like some police message saying that they're looking for a fugitive. And then it shows a picture of a character, and it's like anime. So it seems like some kind of like, I'm guessing it's a game, I would imagine. Otherwise, they wouldn't be tagging Brian and stuff.
For sure.
But it looks like, I have no idea what like the game is, but story-wise, it seems like you're going to be this character. It might be like anime based, and it's like I love the way they're teasing this. I'm really excited. It looks cool.
Yeah, I love when devs throw in little stuff like that, like codes to decrypt. I remember Crows, the people who made Accounting Plus, would send out emails that had like encrypted messages at the bottom, and people would try to figure out what they meant, like searching for the secret zoo level and stuff. So that's really cool that you were actually able to like figure out what they're saying.
So much fun.
The thing is, it's weird because it looks like, you don't see any game footage, or maybe it's cutscenes or something, but it doesn't look exactly like a VR game, to be honest. But they tagged us in it as the first tag. So why the hell would they have tagged us if it's not going to be supported on PSVR? So I think that's one thing we can check off already. We know whatever it is will be on PSVR, 1 or 2 in some capacity.
Unless they just know Brian loves anime.
Just like, why the fuck tag us if they're not going to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, Looper the Game Cat with another €5 tip says, did anyone go for egg hunts in Hitman? It was fun, but a bit short for me. I know. Did you guys do the Hitman thing yet?
I missed it. Yeah.
I have not. I'm well aware of it, but I'm really backed up on Hitman stuff right now. I still haven't beaten the second game, and but there is some interesting things going on with that.
Yeah,
we figured out that the those other things are VR supported, right? the DLC packs they've got, the Seven Sins or whatever.
Is that not DLC supported, or it is DLC support? It is VR
I think it
supported.
is. I think they said it was. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
so we should check that out. Like
there's been some confusion. They said that the Dubai pack was going. There's a starter pack that was free for a couple days, and it was listed on the PlayStation blog. It was listed on YouTube. Said PSVR, but then it turned out not to be.
Right.
And it was a mistake. So there's been some confusion, some backtracking, and yeah, it's I don't know.
Yeah, if
I
have
guess
time,
I jumped in because that's actually on our list of news. Is Hitman? Sorry about that.
no. This is I think this will cover the news. I think between now and Friday, I would really like to be able to have a chance to jump back into Hitman and help clear up some of the confusion, because I'm lost, man. I'm lost. There's DLC, there's egg hunts, there's the Seven Sins, there's whatever, man. There's like the demo thing that doesn't support VR. There's so many things to kind of figure out what's VR supported, what's not VR supported, what you guys should be checking out, what's a waste of time. And I hope I have time between now and Friday to be able to like deliver that message to you guys. But getting back to the Truant Pixel stuff, they've also been tweeting stuff. So if you don't follow Truant Pixel, make sure you follow them over on Twitter. And there's been more binary. So I brought up my little binary website that you just like throw in the numbers and it converts words for you. AJ, what was the first one you said? What did it convert to? Escape. And then there was another one recently that just said pursuit. And then Nick said the second tweet said watching.
Pursuit watching. Escape, pursuit watching. So to me, I definitely get these like, I definitely get these like corporation versus or like dystopian future. It does look futuristic. Dystopian future where you're this character being hunted or something like that. Sounds awesome to me. I think who was it? Somebody said no. Cornerstone City said Cyberpunk. Nihilist Ryan said Spy Hunter in VR.
You guys remember Pursuit Force? Pursuit Force on PSP. Remember that? Where you like actually, it was a driving game. And you'd be shooting out your window, and then you'd like jump from car to car and shooting people. It was a PSP exclusive. It was crazy.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I missed the PSP and the Vita. I never got a Sony handheld.
Oh, that's sad.
I do still want a Vita though.
I haven't had a handheld since Game Gear.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, guys. We were talking about this when Farpoint was releasing that strange logo and the strange sound. Was it SoundCloud media file? Where
it was just like weird transmissions and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was just saying how much I love when developers tease us instead of just being like, hey, in 9 months you're going to be playing this game, that kind of stuff. So I love this kind of stuff. It keeps me interested. It keeps me, instead of just like debuting a game, they're like, we're going to get you excited for the debut of the game. So this is all really exciting, man. There's a lot of question marks out there, and I think we're going to turn that into an exclamation point next week.
Lots of love for Pursuit Force. Also, Twitch of the single player game cat says gives me Akira vibes.
Ooh, I still need to finish watching Akira in 4K Ultra HD on my PS5.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch Akira again.
Nick also has a good thing that I didn't catch. He says there's also graffiti text in the video. If you turn it upside down, it says they're watching. So another hint in the same vein as what we've been talking about.
Well, all I can say is Truant Pixel, take Kotaku off of that damn tweet and tag me instead, so I can keep up with this shit.
Well, I think they tagged thinking we'd all see it.
Yeah.
Like Parole is like all of us or something.
Fine, I'll follow Brian.
You don't have to do that. I would never make you follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, Parole at PSVR. Listen, guys, real quick, J Meow with a $2 tip says, I'm offended that Dave and AJ never had a PSP or Vita.
Sorry, man.
Also offended.
I had a PlayStation TV. Does that count?
I mean,
it was a Vita. Yeah, technically.
Yeah, if you want to ruin Vita games, I guess you could do it that way.
I had a 3DS. I know that doesn't count, but it was a really cool system.
Guys, if you're curious about what Truant Pixel is teasing, make sure you tune into April's PSVRAF next week.
Ooh, he knows something.
I always know something. It's something. It's usually nothing anybody cares about, but finally, it's something that people care about. Guys, we also got a new announcement of a new PlayStation VR game. It's a PS4 flat and PS5 flat game, but also PSVR called Tin Hearts. Did you guys see this trailer?
I think so. Let me look at Steam. I saw it was on Steam.
It's like another story-driven puzzle game, kind of like
The one where you get big and small.
Yes.
Fisherman's Tale.
Fisherman's Tale. It looked like, reminded me a little bit of that, like another one of those. I know there's people out there that love these. This is like not my style of game, one bit.
One thing though that stands out is it says it's from the makers of the critically acclaimed Fable series, which was an old Xbox RPG series, right? Fable, people used to like that back in the day, right?
Yeah.
I never played one myself, but
people
that's
liked
interesting that
Fable. They
were
hated
around,
Peter
so
Molyneux.
they could stuff.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting little thing to note.
It seems strange to even reference that this is coming from the Fable people when it's obviously not this like grandiose adventure where it's like, you know, where there's RPG mechanics and stuff. This is very obviously, from the trailer at least, obviously like kind of a Lemmings clone, but played on a tabletop with, you know, all this stuff going on around it. I guess if you worked on Fable, you'd want to be like, oh, hey, you know, this is a reason to be excited for our game. But I don't know.
Well, it's made by Wired Productions, and they made the game called Grip, which was a roll cage inspired game. And I'm like, where's that? Like, I tweeted this. like I don't want to sound like angry internet entitled complainer,
even though you do.
I was just like, man, I would have really liked to see Grip get first person VR support, because that's what we want, right?
Yeah,
guys? Who's with
you know,
me?
like
Let's go.
Look at fast travel games, like in between, you know, Apex Construct and what was the other game that they made after that? Oh, Wraith. They're making Wraith. They made Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets, which is like not at all what you'd expect them to be working on.
Right.
Totally not in what you'd think is their wheelhouse, but still like a pretty cool game. I'm looking at a review here that is standing out to me. This guy says, I'm 90 minutes in, and I've just got to say, this game is just plain nice.
Oh.
He just is having a very pleasant time with it. So, yeah. They all say Lemmings clone, but plays better because it's in VR, looks amazing.
I do like
very
Lemmings.
sharp visuals.
Yeah.
Beautiful environments, enjoyable puzzles, and
Right.
relaxing gameplay with a
like
slowly
Lemmings.
unfolding story.
Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to potentially.
See, I am interested in this despite the fact that I never really liked Lemmings. I played a ton of Lemmings as a kid. Lemmings, oh no, more Lemmings, whatever, man. There's tons of them. Even like the 3D
all
one.
Lemmings.
There's a 3D one on PS1. I don't know how well that was received, but regardless, I never really liked them, and it's just it wasn't my style of puzzle game. But in VR, everything changes. I've played a ton of games in VR that I just don't like the style of anywhere else. So I'm really hoping that this one ends up being for me, because I do love these these independent style games that like just have like a nice warm fuzzy feel to them. You know, like it brings to mind Element. It brings to mind just those kind of like, you know, like
Ghost Giant is the only one that I think kind of like I thought was like moving.
Yeah, like bedtime story style. I think that's what I'm trying to get here.
Yeah.
And this is even Fisherman's Tale. But yeah, Fisherman's Tale wasn't moving. I hope this is somewhat moving somehow, even though the gameplay doesn't look like it would be like that. But the story here seems decent.
Well, in the little tagline, it calls itself an immersive puzzle game wrapped in a powerful tale of love and compromise.
Sure.
And a lot of people do say that they like the story.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I really like hearing that. Where is it out currently if people are reviewing it?
Well, so it's in early access, I think.
Okay.
No, is it out?
On
It might be
Steam?
out. Let me find it. I'm seeing early access reviews, but I don't see whether the game itself is early access or not, because I don't see a purchase button, which is weird.
Well, guys, I think it's time to move on to our next story, and I want to give a shout out to Big Show, who's going to transition us right into that story. He says that he gives us a $5 tip and says, glad PSVR is getting something like Pavlov. Quest seems to have all the games like that. So if you guys missed the news today, PSVR is getting Pavlov. And specifically,
not PSVR.
Specifically PSVR 2. Or I'm sorry, next generation PlayStation VR hardware. Is that
Right,
more
right.
accurate?
Indeed.
All right. Who here is familiar with I was going to say Alvo, which I mean Alvo should be on everyone's mind right now. But who here is familiar with Pavlov?
Well, I'm about to get way more familiar with it because I think today they just announced it's on App Lab. There's a free version called Pavlov Shack that you don't have to pay. You don't have to go through SideQuest. You can just install it on your thing and play with people online. It's not the full version, but it at least is a version of Pavlov you can play. So I'm going to check that out as soon as possible so I know what we're looking for here. But It's widely regarded as like the best military shooter, team-based kind of first-person shooter thing that is on PC and Quest. So it'll be cool to get this one because there's a huge community over there already, and I think we'll have one here once it drops.
Yeah, it's nice to see, man. Although, again, with it being PSVR 2 and not PSVR 1, very easily a year out, and maybe it could drop as a launch title. But I think at that point, Alva's going to have cornered the market, man. I think they're going to I think Alva's going to have an awesome following, and it's going to be, and they are already talking about PSVR 2 plans as well. So I like that there's not just one option anymore. For a long time, it was like, if you want to play online, competitive, multiplayer, PvP, team-based stuff, it was Firewall. It was Firewall, and everything else was like, it's like, oh, there's also Honor and Duty, and there's also D-Day, but it was Firewall. And now I feel like those options are starting to really expand, which it's great, man. It's great. We need more options for people who love these kind of games.
Now, one thing I didn't realize that I'm hearing from chat here is that people are saying the only reason that it's so popular, or the main reason it's so popular, is because of mods and custom maps where they rebuilt like old Call of Duty maps and stuff like that. So if they don't have that, that is something worth noting that will be kind of a big difference between the two versions.
I think if you're interested in this game, just look forward to Alba, which is supposed to be getting a release date sometime soon.
Oh, yeah.
Just look forward to Alba because it's basically the same thing. You don't have to wait a year. And it's fast-paced, combat. It's got different modes and everything. Already has a strong community on the PlayStation side through the beta phases. So this is a great announcement, but, this is a ways away. And I think we're going to start to see more and more developers targeting PSVR 2 in the future. But one thing I do want to correct here is that Push Square and IGN and all them were like, PSVR 2 gets its first confirmed game. And if you're going by a dev tweeting something or what they're saying, then this is far from the first game that's been confirmed. We already know Vitruvius has been basically went out on a limb saying, we're designing this for PSVR 2, hoping that there is a PSVR 2 announced.
Right.
Lo-Fi is being developed for PS5 already, and he said that the thing. So I think there's just so many other games that kind of have been talked about from the developer side first. Hellsplit Arena, all these came before this, so this is far from the last one. But still, I think we're just going to start to see more and more developers be like, we want to target the PSVR 2. Who wouldn't want to develop for the PSVR 2? If I was a dev, I know I would.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, Big Show asked, what's the source about Boneworks saying they might do the same thing? And it's them tweeting it out themselves. They said, hey, look at these controllers. We're 90% sure that we would support these when they drop.
It would work.
So, yeah, that's the source, is the horse's mouth.
Yeah,
exactly.
Themselves.
Exactly.
But there's no official Sony announcement, which is what everyone's kind of waiting for. But we'll get to that later this year at some point.
I got a shout out. You got cold yogurt with a $5 tip. Says, I just completed Cosmo Dread with no ammo and low on oxygen. Almost gave up 2 times near the end, but I persisted until the end. Pun intended.
Persistence.
Oh, okay. I was like, where's the pun? I'm so bad at this sometimes. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a big achievement, actually, getting all the way through Cosmo Dread. Especially, I don't know how much you've already played it, but the first few runs, it is really tough to get anywhere close to, accomplishing what you need to accomplish. So, congrats, man. Good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Switcher, we had a whole conversation about this Boneworks situation on a GamesCast. We were getting into an argument with GamerCheck and just saying, will it be Boneworks or will it be a different game? So go back and check that out, man. That was a really great conversation we had. I think it was a lot of fun. I love speculating about what developers' plans are, what their motives are, what their best financial, motivations could be in terms of getting their next game funded and making the most money as fast as possible. So go check that out, man. It was a lot of fun talking about that. All right, guys. Sort of bad news, I think, coming from this next story. I say bad news, but there's good news mixed in there a little bit. Yeah. Developer Joyway tweeted that Stride is going to be delayed slightly. It was supposed to come out this spring, and now it's going to be late 2021 on PSVR. How disappointed are we?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I know it's some people's most anticipated game, but when the reason is that they want more content, more polish, more like better gameplay and stuff, better features, yeah, I do that all the time. I'm like, yeah, let the PC side get the early access stuff. Give me the full fledged game that's like, something that I won't. This was a problem kind of with like Grad for me, was that like I liked it, but it was like, what, 2 hours, 3 hours, and I was done with it. And I like games that I could spend hours and hours and hours and hours, or come back and replay them a million times. So yeah, no, I'm totally happy about this. Obviously, I'd like it sooner, but for the reason that it's delayed, I'm totally cool with.
Yeah, I mean, having played it on PC, the part that would have compelled me to keep playing it, the campaign mode, just wasn't there in early access. And like, if it released like that, or if they didn't have the time they needed to properly set up a campaign mode, I think this game would flop, because the time trial and the endless mode were both like not that compelling without something to guide me forward or some reason to do anything. So they really need to have that before they launch, and this will give them time, I think, to get ready for that.
Yeah, I was watching you stream this, Dave, and immediately I was like, man, I want to be excited for this game. I want to, like, I can't wait to get my hands on it. I can't wait to get into this world. I can't wait to feel how the mechanics are. But man, like, launching with 3 modes that aren't a campaign, that there's no real substance to it. It's all kind of time trials. It's all kind of just like short things that like you're constantly playing over and over and over and over again. It's these things that will keep you playing the game, but there's still no meat there. And when even the developers are like, hey man, like, we need to sort out some of the mechanics, we need to sort out some of the parkour stuff, we need to figure out how to make this work better, show you guys how to play it better, then it's like, okay, well, usually though, I mean, I hate saying this, but usually it's the developers that are clueless on this front, that go, we didn't realize what gamers want. And it's so nice to finally see a developer go, oh, no. Like, we want to make this better from a gameplay perspective, and we want people to enjoy it right out of the gate, instead of having to wait. When they've said they were going to deliver like these 3 modes and then bring the campaign later, I was like, I want the campaign at launch, and I don't care when the launch is. I'd rather have it at launch and experience that from the get-go, instead of being like, okay, I'm buying the game right now, and then in 6 months I'll get a campaign. It's like, yeah, I'd rather wait.
Well, I hope to God they don't do something like we're delaying that part of the game and the campaign is still coming later, after launch, because that would be dead on arrival for me. Like, I would be like, nope, sorry, but we're not doing that.
Right. Absolutely. So, a little bad news, but I really do feel like it's mostly good news. So, no complaints over here. Also, plenty of games to keep us going in the meantime. All right, guys. Let's move along. I think the next story that we need to talk about: Crisis Brigade 2. Dude, when did Crisis Brigade 2 come out? Hasn't it been like a year now?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure that when this game launched, they basically said that the multiplayer, the 3-player online multiplayers in Crisis Brigade 1, would be coming summer 2020, and as of right now, that's still not a thing. AJ, what did the developers tell us recently that made us kind of excited for this?
Well, it didn't tell me. Kano told on Twitter.
It told everybody.
It
was us, it was you, it was them. It told everybody.
So first it was summer, then it was fall, then it just changed to soon, or when it's ready or something. But he said, testing the co-op, just finished the first run with 0 bugs. This is very, very close. And that's all he said. So sounds like they're getting really close to being finished with Crisis Brigade multiplayer.
Nice. Now, I really hope. Now, we've done some tests with Crisis Brigade 1 multiplayer, and it was fun. There's no denying it was fun, right? Just being able to be in those scenes with other players was great. But I feel like one player, I think Dave always got the short end of the stick here. One player always kind of was just like thrown out in the open, like with no place to duck for cover. And
cover was terrible for that third player.
Yeah, so I kind of hope that they're sort of redesigning parts of the game to make it better for 3 players, or hopefully they had this in mind when they were designing the levels in the first place. Do you think that's enough? We've waited so long. Do you think there's more to it than just okay? Now you get to play with 3 players.
For Crisis Brigade 2?
Yeah, because Crisis Brigade 1, it was very straightforward. It was like, hey, it's the same game, and now you're playing with 2 friends. And I'm wondering, it would be kind of cool, like to be able to like help each other out somehow, you know?
Yes. So one thing I noticed is that Dave said he lost audio, by the way, and he said he can't hear us. So he said he might have to leave and come right back.
Okay, sure.
Can you do that? But anyways, so one thing I noticed with Crisis Brigade 2 is that they have the NPCs, they already have like the NPC co-op partners or whatever that you can spawn, and they seem like they're already in good cover positions. So I'm hoping that this time around, that once they add in the multiplayer, that they will already be good to go in the right spots. I feel like hopefully those are placeholder spots for the people, because they seem like they were well covered, and hopefully there's no issue.
Dave, are you back?
Hey, sorry guys, I lost you on audio for a minute there.
Okay,
Sometimes when my headphones come unplugged, Discord does whatever it wants to, and I can't get it working again.
No
Yeah,
worries.
it's Discord. All right. Well, I mean, what
What did I miss though? What were you guys talking about?
We were talking about.
Crisis Brigade 2.
Yeah.
Oh, are they getting multiplayer finally?
Yes. They're it sounds like they're finishing up testing and making it work now. But there's sort of this thing that I have in the back of my mind going on right now that is, it feels a lot like the Beat Saber multiplayer, where it's too straightforward, where it's like, okay, it's the exact same game, and now you just happen to be playing with other people. I get that when you're shooting, it's a little bit different than when you're on your own, like slicing your own blocks, but I feel like I want more. Like I want ways to help my co-op partners, or maybe a mode where, like, you know, it's a score attack mode where you are fighting for the best score and you can actually shoot your partners. That kind of stuff. I just want more, man. Because it just felt so kind of tacked on, because it was in the original, that I feel like when you're designing a whole new game, this is your chance to like make multiplayer fun or make it more fun.
I mean, I think I had fun with the Crisis Brigade 1 multiplayer, except for the spawn points, which, as you said, felt very tacked on and sort of like an afterthought.
Yeah.
That sort of, took me out of the fun of it. But if they can nail the spawn points in this one, I think just the fun of being in there with a friend, if they have voice chat, or if you guys can get in a party together or whatever, set up a private room and go through, like, it's just always more fun to have a friend with you, regardless of what the game is, or if it's, enhanced for that in some specific way. So it'll still be a good feature to have. I have to get it out pretty soon.
Shout out to Donatello, the Scientist Game Cat, with the $5 tip. Says, happy hump day, everybody. This is great. We get to stream on hump day. I'm so excited. Can't wait for Crisis Brigade 2 co-op. Fun little game I've been meaning to jump back into. Yeah, it's a fun little game for sure. I forget what I scored it, but it's a solid game. It's $20, and it's, graphically way superior than the first game. The only issues I think I had were, like, I wanted some more vehicular stuff, where it was like, in the first game you ended up on a helicopter, on a boat, that kind of stuff, and in this it's just like you never felt. There were all these static moments where you're just like, okay, now I'm here. It's like, give me put me on a speedboat, man. I think that was a Time Crisis 2 or Time Crisis 3 thing, where you're on a speedboat and there's other speedboats coming around you, and you're like, and you're like, give me those moments. Like, I don't have to move. Just move the environment for me.
Yeah, I think Ghost Squad did that too.
Well, Brian,
there's definitely a boat scene in Ghost Squad.
I can say, and Dave, that I've been talking with some Dreams creators, and I think you'll be excited to see what they are working on.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Is it War Garble?
No.
Okay, because I know he's going to add more to
Whiplash.
Yep, exactly.
Also great. You should definitely go check out Whiplash if you like arcade shooters. It's like a horror themed one, but there's somebody else who's I've been touching base with, and I've seen a little sneak peek, and yeah.
AJ, you're such a tease. You're such a tease. Stop teasing me.
Yeah, I know. Come on.
I think our next story is... Oh, dude, our next story is so exciting. In an interview with the PlayStation Bros, is that right?
Yes.
The developers of Swarm mentioned that they want their game to come to PSVR by the end of this year.
Ooh,
AJ,
what is
Swarm, man? Tell me.
Hype. Oh, this is everything I love about VR. This is what I want to see when I see a VR trailer. It looks like, I mean, it just looks like crazy swinging around these arenas and shooting, frantic shooting. It's got like a little bit of a cartoon, almost anime hybrid style to it. Oh, this is everything I love to see in this game. This game is super exciting to me, just like Fract was. You could see the gameplay speaks for itself. Just take a look down below. This is what I'm all about. This game, I'm excited for this very much.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is like Windlands mixed with like old arcade classic like shoot 'em up games. Like it's definitely got that sort of invaders or whatever Galaga vibe of the way the creatures look out there and the way they circle around and the way you shoot at them and stuff. It seems very arcadey in a cool way, but also super mobile, and the locomotion looks awesome. And VR as fuck. I mean, that's what we're looking for, right? Like, this looks great.
100%. Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about Jupitergrad earlier, and this is kind of what I thought Jupitergrad was missing. When I kept asking people like, what should I expect when Jupitergrad comes my way? They're like, oh, it's you're using these plungers as grappling hooks, and you're going to be maneuvering around the environment, kind of like Spider-Man. And I'm like, awesome. But then when the game got here, it was. The environments were really, really cramped, and so it was more like a technical thing to be able to swing around without just slamming into walls constantly. And this seems just so fucking wide open, where you just like yank yourself in a direction, you go flying in one way, and you're shooting guys down below. Another thing that, like, as good as Jupitergrad was, as much fun as I had with it, it needed enemies. I think that game would have been so much better with enemies in some kind of combat. Give me a gun, man. Let me swing with one hand and shoot with the other. And this game is doing that, and it looks beautiful. I love AJ already mentioned like the style of the artwork and stuff, a little anime inspired. I love what this thing looks like.
This trailer though, I'm not a fan of this trailer over the other one. This is a good trailer. This shows some good gameplay, but I don't like the trailers that show just a person with the headset on going, ooh, like that shows off anything. Upload VR actually had a announcement trailer, I think, for the original one, and it shows like just pure gameplay and really some cool environments, some different enemies and stuff. But this will suffice. But yeah,
Ryan, this is good enough. Ryan.
Every game moving forward should be required to have a Tarzan VR style mixed reality video to go along with it, with a little song they made just for the trailer.
I
love
am
that idea.
Super excited about this game. This game looks like my jam. It looks like it actually has a decent amount of content too. But I love how there's like, it's got the gameplay figured out between the swinging and the shooting, but then it's got these environments that look really good too in the background. So it's just, I love the idea of this. I don't think it's going to be a huge game, but it does look like something that I would really, really, really enjoy.
I'm actually downloading the other trailer right now, so don't mind me at all.
Oh, excellent.
Gotta see the other one. But he was asked, and part of the, shout out to the PlayStation Bras on there, Mr. PSVR over there, who I follows me and stuff, and we like to touch base, and I'm so glad that they get these random little tidbits of info like this sometimes, and I think I don't know about like the full content of the game. I'd like to see, but he just does. It's a nice little interview. Make sure you go check it out. It's on my Twitter.
Here's the other trailer, guys, in case you were interested in seeing what AJ was talking about, getting rid of some of that, getting rid of some of the actual people.
I don't need to see a dude taking off a quest. Like, that doesn't tell me anything about the game. Or wearing a quest, but this other trailer has like some great gameplay footage. Looks really, really good.
Oh, absolutely. Some of these guns look great, man. I'm looking. It's not just firing. It's like there's lightning coming out of one of these guns. This has me hyped. This feels like the excitement level that like Fract is going to deliver, but like almost non-stop. I feel like Fract might have moments of like. Well, I know Fract will have moments of stealth and like sneaking around and stuff. This looks like just non-stop chaos, which I mean I think we need that sometimes.
Quick question. I don't know if you guys know, Phil in the chat says RIP Space Junkies. I'm wondering, is this multiplayer at all, or is this a single player only game? Do you guys know if there's any info about like if there is any sort of co-op or PvP or anything like that? Because it would be cool, but it seems like your enemies are
bots. I mean,
dragon exactly. Yeah, like
controlling it.
Exactly. So I don't know if it doesn't look multiplayer to me. It looks single player. So maybe not RIP Space Junkies just yet, although that game's dead anyways.
I'm a single player guy, so mostly. So this is right up my alley for sure. Looks colorful, variety of environments, all this crazy, goofy stuff going on. Love it.
Yeah, I'm looking this up, but Swarm is a fast-paced arcade-style grapple shooter with quick sessions, bright, colorful worlds, and globally competitive leaderboards that will take you back to the glory days of arcade games. Armed with a grappling hook and your handy pistols, you'll be plunged into a flow state as you grapple, shoot, and battle your way to the heart of the Swarm before it's too late. Twitch reactions won't be enough to carry you through. You'll need to think strategically and plan your next move to stay alive, intense, demanding, exhilarating. Did we mention hard? No, but now I'm hard. All right.
Thanks, Shatner.
Right? Okay. Guys, we've got a few minutes left in the show, and I am throwing this at you kind of unexpectedly, and I apologize for that. Just to make sure before I totally take this over, there wasn't anything you guys wanted to talk about, right? Anything else you had in mind?
There's a couple things that popped up, but no. We can save for Friday.
I got this fungus on my big toenail.
So the answer is no. We had nothing else to talk about. Perfect, because as I told you guys, I do want to start introducing some viewer takeover questions into the mix when we have time. I just didn't think we were going to have time today, so I didn't include it in the run of show. AJ's run of show, what I meant to say. AJ's still running this thing. We got old school GameCat that like pretty much religiously for the last week has posted on almost every video, wrote #viewer takeover. I know we've already covered a new aim controller with the stock, but is there any type of other peripheral you would want to see for PSVR2, such as a pair of pistols, a fishing rod, a haptic vest, etc.?
Dave, I know Dave wants a fishing rod.
Oh yeah, Dreamcast, baby. Dave
wants Dreamcast compatibility with PSVR2.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there anything that comes to mind like immediately?
A sword, a tracking sword. Now, I personally, I would like to experiment with haptic vests. I think if you want my real answer, like a haptic wetsuit. Would be like full body haptic suit.
Wait, you're gonna play in the tub or something? You're gonna jump in the tub for Subnautica? Turn the shower on? I feel like I'm there.
And then I drown. But no, I'm I'd be excited for some maybe haptic stuff. Getting into that, I haven't had any interest this gen because of how expensive it is, how it's only PSVR. How it's only PC. But haptic suits would be pretty cool in my book if there was like a more affordable one to try.
I think they need a more affordable racing wheel that's good, because the racing wheels are so expensive. But if you get a HOTUS, you can get that shit for cheap, and it's just as immersive as having a racing wheel, but it's like not $300, right? I'd love to see that. Obviously, Twitcher says love Sense VR. For PlayStation VR2.
I still don't know what that is.
That's a good callback. Well, Brian knows.
I can tell you all about it off air.
Yeah.
You guys make sure you follow me on Chatterbait. It's a whole different type of audience, though. I don't know if this is the correct audience for my side gig. AJ was actually onto something pretty awesome, and that's the first thing you said was that you wanted a sword. Now, I think one of the problems VR is still kind of figuring out is making things in the game weighted when the thing you're holding isn't terribly weighted. So how great would it be if the programmers could step away and say, yeah, this is going to track 1-to-1, but then you actually have a sword accessory that's heavy like a sword, and so it takes weight to swing this thing. A sword with a joystick and that's tracked, and so now the difficult part of programming weight in games is no longer part of the game. It's just, hey, this is a heavy sword, and eventually it's going to wear you out, and that takes care of your stupid stamina meter. You know who I'm talking to.
Well, I know Rypop will be playing with that. Rypop probably already plays with one of those things.
Bring back
one of those wrist weights guys in Beat Saber.
Bring back
shake
Bushido
weights
Blade with its own swords.
Shake weights.
Swords.
Also, the GameCat with the €5, because I know what I'm talking about now. It's not a pound; it's a euro. He says it would be cool to have a tracked steering wheel, which would be displayed exactly where I feel it. I think they could easily have a thing where like they guess where your hands are kind of based on how the wheel's turning and sort of represent them that way. But if the PlayStation VR does have inside-out tracking, they could actually have sort of like a finger tracking thing just to see like, oh, his hands are on 10 and 2, or they're over here, or whatever, and sort of represent that in game, wouldn't be unfeasible, I think.
I mean, yeah, having finger tracking on the wheel itself, so that like when you like kind of like lift your fingers or just kind of like, you know, shake them out a little bit, and it happens in game. It's like just to add the extra level of immersion.
I think it'd be cheaper to do it in the headset than to do it in the hardware of the wheel, because if you have the inside out tracking and you just put a few little IR things on the thing, you don't have to have it tracking anything. You can just have the headset look at your hands.
Sure.
Be all good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, I think that's going to do it for another episode of PSVR Gamescast Live. Listen, like I said, viewer takeover is still going to be incorporated into this. Certainly there's going to be days where there's like no news to talk about, and we're just going to want to talk about viewer takeover questions all day long. Some days it's going to be one question, some days it's going to be no questions, and so we're kind of mix it up and see how it goes moving forward. So make sure you keep submitting your viewer takeover questions, like either in the comments below with the hashtag viewer takeover, all one word, or in our Discord, which you should already join. Come on, guys, come hang out. Don't you like me? I like you. The link is in the description, so just click that and join. It's free, and it's fun. Also, do not forget that April is PSVR AF, and that is starting April 5th, April 6th, and April 7th. It's going to be short little state of play style videos, one a day, 15 to 20 minutes each day, all PSVR. From beginning to end. So if you like state of plays and they're only 20 minutes long and you're only hoping for that one PSVR game, well, now you're going to have 3 state of plays that are all PSVR. And I'm really, really excited to share some of that stuff with you. It's going to be awesome. What is it, Dave? How can I help you today?
Big question for you. And I think people would like to know this. I'd like to know this myself. Format-wise, are you going to be doing premieres for these so we can all hang out together and watch them as they go live and hang out and chat?
100%.
Good.
Absolutely. Okay. Definitely doing premieres. I want to be there with you guys. I'm gonna be hosting it, so it's gonna be where I'm gonna be in the chat, and I'm gonna be on there, like, you know, directing traffic. But it should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for it. And a couple, like some stuff is some games that you've heard of, and at least one, maybe two that you haven't. But a lot of developers kind of playing the game and being like, hey, just check out this game. This is how it feels moment to moment. And I feel like that's some things trailers don't give you often. So I'm really excited to share some of this extended gameplay with you guys. All right, that's going to do it. Hey, guys, don't forget, you definitely want to check out AJ's No Man's Sky stream earlier, so go subscribe to him over at PSVR Underground on YouTube. Check out Dave's multi-part Doom 3 series. He's on part 3. I can't wait for part 4. Is that happening soon?
Yeah. Actually, I got to do some No Man's Sky, but that's on the menu. Absolutely.
So make sure you subscribe to Dave over at Dave Station VR. And that's it, guys. Make sure you come back on Friday for another episode of PSVR Gamescast Live. My name's Brian Paul. This was PSVR Gamescast Live, and we're out. Cue the cat. Cue the cat. Oh, no cat. This is just us.
Because I want to say what's up to... Sorry, guys. I don't mean to keep teasing that.
Awesome. We'll bring it back at some point.
That's a Friday thing, maybe.